Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to the Basketball Fix podcast. Now, on today's episode, we have got a super special guest. We've got one of the young guns. I still can't believe how young this guy is. He's an import player for the Illawarra Hawks. If you're watching at home, you can obviously see who is on the screen, but I'm talking of Illawarra Hawks
Sir.
import forward, Darius Days. Darius, welcome to the show, mate.
How you doing? Glad to be here.
Very good, mate. Very good. I'm looking forward to obviously to touching on your career, and it's been a short career so far. Like I said, I still can't believe 99 baby, just like myself, mate, and obviously tearing up the NBL scene so far. But how about we take it right back to the start, mate? So obviously originally born in Florida. Now I want to sort of know, what was Florida like growing up, to everyone listening at home who hasn't obviously been over there just yet?
Man, it kind of puts you in the same light of being in Wollongong as well. Beach state, always hot, good people, Southern hospitality. But I'm from the country. It was fun. It was fun growing up. I enjoyed everything about where I'm from. Little small town. Everyone knows each other. The people that you grew up with, you grew up from diapers to all the way to high school or something like that. So, it's just like everywhere, every small town in the world. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
No, definitely. And I guess the only real big difference, I guess, between maybe Florida and Wollongong is maybe the gators, I guess, mate. Not as many gators floating around here. They're everywhere.
For sure. Definitely a lot of gators floating around.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. It's really good. I've only just recently gotten back from America. Unfortunately, didn't get to go to Florida and everything. I was more on the West Coast side, but obviously looking forward to going over there at some stage as well. And obviously it's a pretty humid state as well, which is a bit of a fun one as well, a bit hot and all that sort of stuff. But obviously basketball is the main passion. That's why you're on the show today. But what did you do outside of basketball growing up? Was there any other sports? I know in America, obviously, a lot of guys go into American football. Some guys go down the baseball path. Was there any other sports besides basketball at all?
Man, growing up, the first sport I ever really played, I wasn't old enough to play football with my brothers, because my brother is 3 years older than me. So I wasn't old enough to play football, and NFL football, or whatever you want to call it. You call it footy here. So I played soccer for a year. And then after that, I kind of moved up to football. And then I played a little bit of baseball because my father, he played baseball as well. And then I played a little bit of Little League basketball here and there. And then I played football growing up. And then when I got to around 8th grade, I put the football down. I kept going with the basketball. So, I fell in love with the basketball. And, it's taken me all around the world. Met a lot of people that I never thought I would meet, be in rooms I never thought I would be in, and, just making and creating relationships with people I never thought I would be creating relationships with. So it's taught me a lot, and it showed me a lot over the past 10 years, I would say.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. Even just doing the slight bit of research on yourself, mate. And I try not to do too much research before these because I don't want to know everything about you guys. I get excited hearing your stories and learning all about you guys because, I'll have 100 follow-up questions when I start to learn stuff about you. But let's go into your high school career, mate. You sort of talked about there how, it was really starting to be the turning point where basketball was the sort of pathway that you were going down. Can you let us know, obviously, the high school you attended and how you went over those couple of seasons playing high school ball?
To start off, I played my freshman year at a little small high school called Williston. That's my local high school where I live. So I went to Williston for 1 year. I transferred to the Rock after my freshman year. I went there my sophomore and junior year, and then I transferred to IMG my senior year.
Massive IMGs.
Yeah, the IMG is really big. Shout out to Josh Green. We played together as well. Basketball, it just takes you to different places. If you're a basketball player, you want to continue getting better and playing against the best competition. Sometimes you have to change schools or transfer. So it's definitely hard at times growing up, being a young person and being 3 to 4 hours away from home or being at boarding school or something like that. So, it just teaches you how to grow up really early, and it teaches you a lot about yourself.
Yeah, and I guess a place like IMG as well, a lot of Aussie kids or Aussie people listening to this podcast, they probably wouldn't know too much about many high school basketball facilities or programs, but I think most people have heard about, IMG. It's a massive academy that they've got going on there. Obviously, it's been super, super successful with tons and tons of talented basketball players obviously going to that program. But obviously, you finished your high school career and you obviously went on to decide at LSU, a massive college basketball system. But I did a bit of research here, and you've obviously had some pretty massive offers as well for some other big time schools: North Carolina, Louisville, Ohio State. They are some huge schools there as well. What was the decision process? Because it's not an easy one. Essentially, you've got a massive part of your future in both hands, trying to decide which school's the best fit for you, where you're going to be able to play the most basketball, the way you want to play your basketball. So what was the whole decision process about choosing LSU over some of these other major colleges as well?
So that's a great question. That's a really good question. Um, Man, going into those visits and understanding what I wanted to do, I sat down with my parents. We mapped everything out. Um, man, just going to those different schools and understanding the culture and seeing what fits me the best. I took my first visit. I went to Louisville, blew me out the water, blew all the visits out the water. But a little bit time after that, they kind of got into some trouble. So I wasn't really trying to go there and be in that situation. Then I went to North Carolina, and then I just felt like, no knock to North Carolina, great school, great guys that went there, but I just felt like, I want to play early as a freshman, and I'm not saying that I'm not good enough or I wouldn't have, played my way in to play more as a freshman, but they had a guy, I think his name may have been Luke May. Yeah, I think it's Luke May, and he's one of those guys. The year prior, he hit a big three to North Carolina to go to either the Elite Eight or the Final Four the year before, and he was coming back for his senior year, and I just felt like I'm just going to be buried on the bench unless he gets in foul trouble or something like that. So I wasn't really too concerned about going to North Carolina. I love North Carolina. I love the visit and everything, and got to LSU. Loved the coaching staff. New coaching staff. They were there for a year. They didn't have the best year the year prior, and he sat me and the guys that I came with down. We all went. It was three of us went to the visit together, and he was just like, we want to start something, and we looked at each other, and I was just like, I want to be a part of something being started here, and I picked to go to LSU. Went there for 4 years, and from my freshman year to my junior year, we were the most winningest program in SEC in the past 3 years or the past 4 years. So, I feel like we won a lot of games and did what we were supposed to do. And so, I think I made the right decision.
Definitely, mate. You've definitely made the right decision. And I guess a massive school, obviously, for Australian basketball fans. Obviously, Ben Simmons was there multiple years ago. It's where Shaq made his name early on as well. And I'm pretty sure as well, a guy that we interviewed, one of the NBL legends, Al Green, I believe he was also an LSU alumni as well. So been some massive people go through that program. And obviously, they are a team and a school that has been successful for all parts. Now, like you mentioned, obviously, about getting a bit of opportunity in your freshman year and everything like that. Your freshman year was relatively good. So still limited opportunities, 14.6 minutes per game, where you average 5.3 points and 4 rebounds. So, a very good sort of statistic line for obviously the lack of minutes that you were receiving. And then it obviously got better and better on from there as well. But what do you think was your most complete season? So, obviously you got 4 years there essentially to really fine in on all of those things that you're trying to learn. But where do you think that you were the most complete player in college?
Wow, man, that's a good question. I would say my sophomore year, because I just feel like in my sophomore year, I was just trying to prove myself and to show people what I could really do, shooting threes, getting to the rim, mid-range. And then around my junior year, we had different guys on the team, so I had a different role. So, guarding the 5-man, playing small ball 5, catch and shoot threes, offensive rebounds, just little stuff like that, hustle plays, just little things like that. Then my senior year, I just feel like that year, the difference was I just had more freedom to do whatever I kind of wanted. But I definitely feel like my sophomore year was my most complete year. It may not have been like the best scoring year, but I feel personally that was one of my best years personally.
No, definitely. And you look at statistically wise as well for your sophomore year, 11.1 points per game to go, 6.8 rebounds. And at the end of that season as well, I do believe you declared for the NBA draft before obviously ripping that decision away essentially. So what's the decision process when you're thinking about opting for the draft? Because I believe you did it twice in your college career, where you sort of were electing for the draft, but then withdrew before the draft. So, that's a pretty difficult decision, obviously, to opt in, then to opt out. There's obviously massive talks with family members, obviously agents as well, trying to obviously gain interest and all that sort of stuff as well. So, what's the decision like to obviously pull yourself and withdraw yourself from the NBA draft?
To be completely honest with you, my sophomore year, um, I was kind of trying to just test the waters and understand like what they wanted of me, and then at the same time, I wasn't really understanding what it took to be a professional, and I was kind of just doing it not necessarily for other people, but um, just to see what was going on. And then my junior year gets here, and then it's like, okay, I have 2 years under my belt. Um, it's my buzz is kind of growing, but I'm not doing the things that I need to do to become a professional basketball player in the NBA. So I came back for my junior year, and then I went through the process again. Then I was just like, it was a hard process going after my junior year and saying like, I was really tired of being in school, and I would only say that because all of my friends, everyone I came into college with, was just gone. Like Emmett Williams was gone, Javante Smart was gone, Trendon Walford was gone, Skylar Mays was gone, Cam Thomas was gone. All those guys were gone, and it's just like, wow. Like I got a brand new team with like real young guys, like freshmen and sophomore guys, and I don't know how I would necessarily, mesh with those guys because at the end of the day, like they haven't been in my shoes or been in the battles and been in those grudge matches in the SEC. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like, do I really want to just go through that? What if we're not good, or what if we're not, what if we're not winning games or stuff? Because like the SEC is a real hard league. I feel like it's a top 2 league in the country, or NCAA, and I just felt a lot of pressure. And then I had a long talk with my agent, and then my mother and my father, and I felt like me going back to college probably was the best decision I ever made in my basketball career.
Do you think, obviously, like you mentioned there, I know, I guess a little bit of doubt surrounding, can you do another year? Obviously, the young guys, all that sort of stuff as well. Do you think that year there, when you come back and obviously made that decision to come back, really helped you in terms of not just basketball ability, but things like leadership and leading a team and I guess all that sort of stuff? Do you think that's really set you up now for a professional career where I know you're a young guy still, but you seem like you ooze of leadership qualities?
For sure. I feel personally, I definitely feel like I'm a leader in certain aspects. I just feel like I'm not one of those rah-rah guys like, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. I need you to be doing this, doing this, doing that. I feel personally, I just lead by example, and I just do what I'm supposed to do. So if I'm on the court and, I'm diving for loose balls, or I'm jumping in the crouch to get an extra possession, I'm fighting for offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds. It's like, and I just feel personally it's contagious. And I feel like with just off, not even the LSU team, but like with this team, the team on with the Hawks, I just feel like, me and a certain other guys, like, a lot of things that we do on the court and off the court is just very contagious. So it's like, I just feel like with this team, it's a whole different feel of previous years of Hawks basketball. But throw that to the side. We can visit that later. Back to the LSU situation. It definitely helped me be a leader. It helped me understand and be more patient with other guys than, being used to a certain type of guy or a certain type of player. And then like, we just play off that guy, or we just play just alike. But, it was kind of hard when I first got back because it was like, it's a bunch of new guys that haven't really understood like my head coach and what he wants and, what he does. And it's like, we've been winning before you guys got here. Why we want to change everything we've built and everything that we've been doing these previous years just to suit you better? And we, like, regardless of the guys, we just plugged them in and plugged them in and plugged them in. And then, we had like a 14 game winning streak in the preseason. And, we got to SEC. We finished almost third or fourth. So I feel like personally, we had a pretty good year that year.
No, definitely had a very good year. And your senior year, those averages as well, 13.7 points per game, 7.8 rebounds. And you're also named in the second team All SEC as well. So a nice little way, I guess, to finish the college career. Now, the next step for yourself, mate, was a bit of I guess it would have been a bit challenging. I've sort of done a little bit of research here, and there was obviously a summer league appearance with the San Antonio Spurs. There was a contract signed with the Miami Heat, which sort of fell through, and then obviously you went over to the Houston Rockets and signed a 10-day contract with them, and I believe you played 4 games for them as well on a 2-way contract after that. So, can you give us a bit of an insight into the whole, I guess, business experience that the NBA is? Because we talk about it and we hear about it all the time. Obviously, it's where the best of the best go to and spend a lot of their careers at, but it's a massive, massive business model over there for sure, which can be very tough.
It's very tough, man. Like, a lot of people feel differently about the NBA. Some people feel like, oh, this guy is better than that guy. Why he's not playing in the NBA, or why is he not, playing over this guy? And, me being in the NBA for 2 years and understanding, like, the NBA is really a business at the end of the day. Is like, what player is going to put the fans in the seats, or, what player is going to give us the best advantage to win games or something like that. Or it doesn't really matter about your feelings and, how do you feel about it? At the end of the day, it's about winning games and winning championships. So if you're not going to help the team or the organization win a championship or put people in the seats, like, they don't really have much use for you. But, other people might feel a different way, but I experienced it personally. So, I feel like I have a better experience or to speak on it because I've been through it. But, feeling personally going throughout the draft process and the pre-draft process, I feel like I played pretty well in my workouts. Certain workouts in particular, I was like, San Antonio, I feel like I played pretty well in my workouts. I worked out for them twice. And then, I didn't get drafted. I didn't get a 2-way out of college either. I worked for it. Went to summer league training camp at San Antonio. We was there for about almost 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks or so, or somewhere around there. And we were just practicing and finding out, who was going to be the guys playing. Sometimes some of the teams have around 24, 25 guys. And then the first 2 or 3 games, their assignment players and their 2-ways going to play all the minutes. And then after that, you kind of just cipher the guys in. The assignment players stop playing and some of the 2-ways stop playing. But, yeah, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise because, what was his name? Sohan. He plays for them now. He's probably their point forward. Jeremy Sohan played at Baylor. He had an injury. So me and him play the same position. So that means I would have been third on the depth chart or third at the power forward position. Another guy named Robert Woodard, the third, he was starting at the time on the summer league team at the 4. So, when Robert came out, I went straight in. I was one of the first 1 or 2 guys off the bench. So I told myself just to get in and play your game. Try to get every rebound, offensive or defensive, and, shoot the ball with confidence, get to the rim, get fouled, get to the free throw line. First game, I was kind of nervous. Went out there 11-7. Okay, kind of got my feet wet, getting used to the NBA style of playing. Second game, we played Golden State. It had Jonathan Kuminga out there, James Wiseman, those guys, Mac McClung, and a couple other guys on that team that was really good. 17-13, felt good. Next game, played the Houston Rockets. Ty Washington, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason. That class came in 13-11 on those guys. So, I was just playing my way into something. So, after a while, Miami called, and my agent had a conversation. We're like, if San Antonio give us the 2-way, we're going to go with San Antonio. And then, some things happened with San Antonio, and, we didn't get the two-way with those guys. I love San Antonio. I enjoyed being there. I thought I was going to finish my whole career in San Antonio, but, me just being young and naive, I didn't. I wasn't understanding like how professional basketball works. I feel like I love San Antonio. I always have a soft spot in my heart for San Antonio. Shout out to San Antonio. And I went to Miami. Everything was going well. Good workouts. When people talk about heat culture, it's really true. I really lived it for a couple months. It's really real. The heat culture is really real. And, until someone plays there that personally, or you play there, get the opportunity to go there, you will understand what I mean. But yeah, the deal kind of fell through. Another guy, Jamal Kane, shout out to Jamal. He played very well in the preseason, and they took me off the two-way and gave him the two-way. And so I was on waivers for about 3 or 4 days, and then Houston called. Went straight up to Houston. Worked out for a couple of days, and then shot down to the G League team, the RGV Vipers. And I started my rookie campaign in RGV. I had a pretty good season. Player of the week a couple times, player of the month one time. I averaged 22-9, and then when I was player of the month, it was 25-9 or 25-11 or something around there in that area, 25-10, and I was kind of growing off that season, and then the next year they took me out the two-way, and then I averaged 16-6. So I feel like I had a pretty decent season, but yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's incredible. Obviously, there's still such a area of in growth and improvement in yourself personally to obviously be able to make that jump back to the NBA one day as well. And I think that's what's the most exciting is you've got that bit of experience obviously over there already. You've seen that you obviously can perform with the best athletes in the world. And I think that would obviously give you a massive amount of confidence as well, obviously, wherever you go to obviously try and, apply your talent to the best you possibly can. So it's awesome to see, obviously, that really, really good success there as well. And now a couple little things in the G League as well. So in 2023, you were the NBA G League, in the NBA G League All-Rookie team, and in NBL in 2023 as well, you were in the All-NBL G League second team as well. So, like you said, those numbers are ridiculous. And it's not all about numbers as well, though. We've seen that all the time. It's about how you play, how you fit in, how you lead a team. That's the most important thing. And I think that's where, I guess, it sort of separates the common fan from the analyst, for example, because the common fan will see a player averaging 25 points and, they might be not the best analytical fan, for example, when you continue to go down the lines, or the best teammates. So sometimes it's not really the best thing, I guess, obviously going forward as well. But let's go into the next stop for yourself, mate, before we get to obviously talking about what the crux of this is all about, the NBL. Now, you played for now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Now, I'm an Aussie boy here, so a little bit of a different one here. Is it Winnipeg Sea Bears? Is that right there?
Yeah, Winnipeg Sea Bears up in Canada. Shout out to Winnipeg, man. Yeah, after the season last year, and after the G League season, I shut up to Winnipeg, after Canada. Played 3 games with those guys, just to get back in shape after being out for a month and some change. Get back in shape, get back in playing in shape, and then I went to summer league with the 76ers. Then I kind of came down with the flu, went back home, rested for a little bit, got back right, got back healthy, and then went to the Philippines for a bit, and then we're not gonna go too far. Yeah, I was with the Winnipeg Sea Bears. Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. No, get into it. I was about to ask you as well, because you obviously had a bit of a stint over there in the Philippines as well, and it was a little bit of a bit of a weird sort of was it a bit of a weird situation at all, or because Rondé Hollis Jefferson was coming back into that team as well, wasn't he? That around that same time.
Just me going home and understanding, like what's going on in my life, and I just felt like I've always thought about going overseas and experiencing new things and understanding me as a player and as a person, and a lot of players would say they would be nervous to go overseas. And I understand why most guys would be nervous, because like you're thousands of miles away from home, you're across the world, and you never know what's going on in this world in today's society. So just being away from your home, your loved ones, maybe you have children or a wife, or something like that, and it's the time is kind of flip flop. It's day over there, night over here, day over there. So it's a lot to understand and pay attention to before you make that decision. But for me personally, I feel like it was hard, but once you get on the plane and you get acclimated to like, the time differences and you going to practices and finding good places to eat and stuff like that, or like just having places to go, it kind of becomes easier. But me going to the Philippines, I was with TNT Tropagiga, and you know, they gave me a chance, and I was happy they gave me that chance, and they helped me more than I feel like I helped them. And then I got a call from my agent, was like, it's a team in China wants you to come play with them, and in Australia, basically for kind of a tryout in a sense. And that's when I came to Wollongong and I played against the Hawks. I had a pretty decent game against those guys, and after that, we got on a trip and went straight to Sydney and got on a flight to Brisbane, and we played against Brisbane twice. I had a decent game against Brisbane twice, and then I was told I didn't make the team. So it was a situation where it was like, I'm going to stay here and understand like what I'm going to do next. And so, we got on a call with the Hawks, and now I became a Hawk.
It's an incredible story because like there was obviously a little bit of I guess unknown at the Illawarra Hawks, and we were sort of covering that as well. Obviously Gary Clark was obviously there last season and was an MVP sort of candidate player last year for the Hawks, and there was a lot of question marks. Is he going to sign? And obviously I believe there was a couple of factors there as well, which we won't go into. It's not the time or place to talk about obviously his contract situation or anything like that. But yeah, obviously you spent a bit of time for the Shanghai Sharks, and then obviously signed with the Hawks. So what was that like? Because I think a lot of people were like, who is this kid coming through? He had some really good showings, obviously, and all of a sudden, I think it was within like, was it 10 days or something less than that? You'd already played a couple of games for the Hawks. Like a lot of these other guys that had like multiple weeks in preseason and getting to know the guys. And pretty much you just rocked up and started whooping some ass. It's an easy way of saying it. You were a double-double machine, obviously, there early on, and you were just playing free basketball. You looked great. You were scoring really, really high clips. You were shooting from everywhere you wanted to shoot. It was incredible. So how was that process like? Because it was nice, short, and sharp, and sweet.
Man, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it. Just coming down here and enjoy playing against different competition, and then like you said, having double doubles early and playing very well early. I feel like it's good and bad at the same time, and it's good because it builds confidence for you. You feel good. You feel like you're playing good, but at the same time, you can also get complacent and comfortable. And I feel like I got comfortable, and then like just watching the league and understanding like how the league is. We only got like 10 teams in the league. We play each other 3 or 4 times depending on the team, and your scout report get out. So it's like me being a young player, me being my first time being here. I've had conversations with our front office, and also JT was like, you're playing well, but it's going to be a little time where you're not going to be performing as well as you feel. And I'm thinking to myself, me just being a basketball player, I'm thinking, yeah, whatever, bro. Like, yeah, man, cool. Because like, I play basketball. I play
Yeah.
basketball for a living. So, my competitive nature, like, man, come on. Like, I'm playing well. I'm playing good. And then we were playing against Cairns in Cairns. I fouled out, 2 points, 6 rebounds. And then it was a domino effect, where it's from Cairns to all the way about the FIBA break, where it was just like I was just playing nasty basketball. And then like I actually me and Gary, I text Gary and I asked him, I was like, yo, bro, like, when you're going through like bad slumps, like what do you do to get out the slump? He was like, bro, just get in the gym and do like extra work, bro. And everything is gonna work in itself. And the crazy thing, I'm talking about this because like I was actually on another podcast, or I was on another interview, and I told one of the guys, I told him, I said, I'm going to look in the mirror during the FIBA break, and then I'm going to come back as a whole different player. And from the FIBA break to now, night and day. So I've put the work in, and continue getting better and working on myself. And so I can see the turnaround, and I feel like everybody all the Hawks fans or fans in general or the NBL can see the turnaround in myself. So, I feel good. I feel good.
No, definitely. I think it's yeah, like you said, mate. It's been incredible to see your I guess development from early on in the season to obviously now, and I guess all the ups and downs that you've had. And I've got a few questions based around that, but I've got one quick question here, and it's one that sort of interests me a little bit because majority of the guys have come back from last season at the Hawks, and obviously yourself, you're a new kid on the block. Obviously Trey Kell as well. Did you ever feel pressure because there was a lot of comparisons early on to similar position, similar size, similar play style to Gary Clark, who is obviously, a well-established veteran in the NBL and obviously in the NBA as well. So did you ever feel pressure coming in to say, oh, that's what I've got to perform to essentially?
That's a great question. Not yes and no, because I always want to live up to expectations or expectations for myself personally. But it was just early on. I just feel like I just needed to prove myself. New league, new player, first time over here, and I just feel like I had to prove myself, and I still have to prove myself. So, Gary did what he was supposed to do. He played very well, played his way into another situation on another team, and I feel like, he played great, but I just feel like this year, the team, I just feel like we just have a better team this year. I feel like, you had those guys last year, Sam, Tyler, Gary, and still those guys that came back from that last year's team. But I just feel like this year everyone can really play. So it's like we're not gonna have nights where it's like, this guy has 35, this guy has, 25. The point spread is spread out. You got 16 here, 17 here, 13 here, 12 here, 9, 7, 8. So it's just like it's a different team. So, I don't feel like it's a lot of pressure on me. I don't feel like it's a lot of pressure on our team. But, I just feel like this year is just a completely new team. Like it's a breath of fresh air for I feel like the fans and also the team. But I just feel like we have like a pretty different team this year than I feel like the Hawks have seen in a long time. So
yeah, I think you're 100% spot on. Now we've obviously set up our individual team podcasts, and for everyone listening right now, if you're an Illawarra Hawks fan, which you most likely are if listening to this particular episode, go and check out Hawks Hangout. Now they are two passionate Illawarra Hawks boys who are absolutely excited. Now they've got one little motto, I guess, on their podcast, and it's no chip talk, no championship talk at all. Let's just let the boys play, let the season play out. But it'd be pretty hard, I guess, to not think about it. Is there a little bit of chatter here and there? I know Will Hickey had his comments a couple of days ago about, he feels like this team can win an NBL championship and everything like that. Is that talk starting to come into the locker room slightly, or is it just the focus is game by game, day by day, session by session?
Throughout the season, we've all talked about it. Coaching staff, players, 1, 2, 3, chip. Like we've been having that mindset the whole season. But at this point in the season, we're just trying to finish out as number one, get that bye, get that home court advantage, and then then we'll start talking about that then. But we have to finish the season out. I understand when Davo was saying, he feel like we have the best team, and everybody feel like we have the best team on the team, or just the Hawks fans in general. Everyone feel like we have the best team, but I just feel like we gotta finish games and finish this season out right, and then after that, show people we have the best team by getting that championship. I feel like we definitely have a great chance. I feel like we definitely have the most dangerous team in the league, and it's kind of hard to beat us. I feel like the only way a lot of teams can beat us is if you outscore us. And then some nights you can't even outscore us because we playing really good defense as well. Some nights we might have a little lag on defense, but it's not many nights that we're lagging on each side. So, I'm not going to speak too far in advance, but I definitely feel the energy and the tension in the room or in Illawarra, or in Wollongong, that we need to win this championship, because I feel like we definitely have a team, we have the pieces, we have the coaching staff, and it's just time for this organization to get back on top.
No, definitely. I think it's been a long time coming. I think it's been, I believe it's 25 years. Yeah, 25 years since the last championship. So we're not going to put any mockers on right now. Let's let you guys continue playing your high level of basketball, and we'll see what the season does sort of finish like. But JT, obviously, I think he's come into the league. He's been a massive breath of fresh air. I think a lot of people have loved him. I think, he's just a ride or die guy for all of you guys, for the Wollongong area. He has just ingrained himself in that community and within this organization. What is he like as a coach? Because the big move of the season was the fact that the start of the year you were starting, you were playing really good basketball. Like you said, you had a bit of a slight drop off. And then I'd imagine the conversation would have come that, hey Darius, we're gonna move you to the bench, and we're gonna see how you can come off the bench, and we're gonna sort of, there's still gonna be the same rough minutes, there's still gonna be the same sort of shots, there's still gonna be everything similar. It's just you're coming off the bench and there's a little bit less pressure. So, one, what was that conversation like with JT? And two, what is JT like as a coach?
At first I want to say, he's a great coach. He's a player's coach. He lets you play your game, but it's also like it's controlled. He's going to let you kind of play your way in and do what you do, but he's also going to bring it in and let you know when you're doing a little too much or you need to slow down and relax. He's a great coach. I love him. He's probably one of the most positive coaches I've ever had. He's positive, but also he'll get on to us and let us know like we're playing too much or we're not taking things serious enough. That's a coach that you would love to have. You can't always have those serious coaches like every day. It's just like nah, it can't be like that. It got to be like very calm. I know it's getting real tense in the season and all these wins matter, but you just got to just take it game by game. You can't look too far ahead, and he keep us grounded and level-headed. But that conversation, that's a really interesting conversation. At first, I didn't really. I kind of had the thought in my head already. The last game we played in Adelaide, I didn't play well. I think I may have fouled out or something like that. I may have fouled out in Adelaide. I didn't play well, and it was just like we were just playing nasty basketball. And I just feel like personally for the team, me coming off the bench is probably the best situation. Also, given the second group or the guys coming off the bench, more scoring and other than trying to rely on Tyler and Trey and Sam to like play majority of the game where they can come out get a breather and I can go in or whoever, me and Lucky or Dave or whatever, go in there and do what we're supposed to do. Mason, he just compliments, those guys way better than me. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Mason's he's gonna do all the little things. He's gonna set good screens. He's gonna get guys open. Me personally, I just feel like I'm more of a spacer. I'm not a guy that needs to set screens because if I go set a screen, like that's an easy trap or something like that. Most guys are not hugging off me or coming off me, so that's an easy lane for Trey and Tyler to drive the ball. Or, I just cause a lot of attention, so that helps those guys. But Mason is he's just a great guy, and he just makes that first group kind of go because he's doing all the little things. Just off the most recent games, he's getting big rebounds, he's getting big blocks, diving on loose balls for balls, just helping us. He's just doing winning plays. He just helped with winning. So, Mason I'm glad that Coach made that decision to do that. And it helped the team and it also helped me personally. Also helped me with my confidence and me just getting back on the court and scoring the ball how I'm supposed to be scoring or better. So, it helped out both ways. So, but the conversation it was a good conversation. He told me, you didn't do nothing wrong, but, we need to make a change. And I was just like, whatever you need me to do, Coach, I'm gonna do whatever you need me to do. And so, like I said, after the FIBA break, I've just been playing better.
You have, and I've just got your stats up here as well. So we'll just touch on your past 3 games, and we can go back a little bit further as well. But you've been on a bit of a tear at the moment, and 12 points in your most recent game with 6 rebounds. He also had 15 points in the game back as well with 5 rebounds and 13 points with 7 rebounds as well. So that's your past 3 games. So you're really starting to find that form, and I guess figuring out as well. It's definitely challenging, obviously, figuring out how to play essentially second fiddle, playing off guys like Tyler Harvey and Trey Kill as well. And obviously they do their job very, very well. But one last question before I've got a quick little couple of rapid fire questions here from a couple of fans of yours and of the Illawarra Hawks. But the NBL, it's a bit unique in this situation, I guess, because an import player. Now, I think there's still a bit of a way to go with how people need to view imports, for example. It's not about them coming in and scoring 20 to 25 points per game. You can bring an import on. I spoke to Craig Sword a couple of weeks ago about this. You can bring an import in where they're, a defensive player. They might only score 5 to 10 points, for example. But did you at all ever feel, I guess, any pressure from people around the league or in the media or anything like that? When you were starting to struggle a little bit, was there any sort of doubt in your mind that am I right for the NBL, or is this the right spot for me or anything like that? Because obviously you're a guy who's, I think, definitely full of confidence, but when you're starting to sort of maybe fall out of rotation a little bit or struggling a little bit, the mental demons, it's a part of everyone's sort of DNA, I guess, as well.
It was the NBL posted something. This was before. This is in the middle of the FIBA break, and they were just saying what every team needs to get better, what every team needs to do for them to get better, and the caption was to get Days back in form, and I took that and ran with it. I can find it. It may be on the page, but it definitely touched me when I seen that. And the fans didn't say anything to me. No, the coaching staff didn't really say nothing to me, but I just had to find my way and understand like the league better and let it slow down for me. And when I seen the Hawks need to get Days back in form, I looked in the mirror and I said, what are you not doing that you're not playing at the rate that you were doing at the beginning of the season? And I just started taking more accountability, understanding the league better, understanding what I need to do to put myself in the best position to score the ball or rebound the ball, and also second chance points or offensive rebound. Just get the easy ones and then move your way out. So, I seen that and, I took it personal. I think
I think that's obviously a good thing as well.
Yeah. So I seen that. I didn't really, tell too many people about it. I kind of kept it inside. And, I just took it day by day and I started working and, getting in the gym extra, just doing little things that I was doing to help myself become successful. And then, we played New Zealand, weeks ago, had 11-7. Then we moved up, had 15-11 against Perth at Perth. And then the games just started stacking up for me. They just started stacking up. And then we went on the road, beat United, had a decent game there. And then, we started racking up those wins. So, yeah, me coming off the bench is probably one of the best decisions of my NBL career.
No, definitely, mate. I think it's been a very beneficial one, and I think you've handled it with absolute poise. And I've spoken to some guys who have spent 10, 15 years playing basketball, but it's not just in the NBL. That could be other professional leagues around the world. But for a guy, and I got to keep honing back to this, mate, because I think people don't realize that you're 25 years of age. I think people see you as a 30-year-old who's had plenty of experience, because that's what the NBL does with imports. We have a lot of older veteran guys who have had experience in the NBA or anything like that who come over here. And I think the way you've handled everything with poise, with class, I think it's been really, really important for this team. And, you spoke about a few of those games there, mate. Now, plus minus is a big one. I'm not sure how much that gets talked about, behind the scenes, but for analysts and fans of the game, you're a plus 23 in back-to-back games, which does obviously show your importance to the overall team's success when you're on the court. You're doing massive things. You're a plus 4.9 this season as well, which is just huge when you're on the court as well. So a massive congratulations, obviously, for yourself, mate. I think it's been an incredible season, and you are an incredible reason as to why this team is flying. The Hawks are absolutely soaring right now, and I want to see this team obviously have a little bit of success. I'm a Perth Wildcats fan. I'll get that out there right now, but I'm an NBL fan as well. All right, I just love obviously everything what you guys are doing. But mate, let's finish this episode. I've actually had you a little bit longer than I sort of told you right now, mate. So I'm sorry about that, but I've got a couple of little questions right now. So I know a couple of the Hawks boys. I know Dan Greeter pretty well. Who is your favorite teammate, I guess? It doesn't have to be your favorite player on the court. I'm more speaking off the court, man. Who's the best to hang out with off the court?
My favorite teammate off the court, me and Trey Kill, we're pretty close. We go on little Costco runs. We go get food together. We hang out sometimes. But everybody on the team really gets along very well. We really enjoy being around each other. And that just shows on the court as well. me and Trey, we real close on the court. We send each other TikToks and stuff. We doing all types of, stuff like that. But everyone's pretty cool though. Me and Lucky pretty close as well. We have fun. Davo, Sam, we all get along for the most part.
That's awesome. That is definitely awesome. Now, if I was to come to Wollongong, and I still haven't been to Wollongong, I live in WA, but I am definitely wanting to come over to the Sandbox and have a bit of a look around and watch a game down there because it just looks insane. What are 2 things or 3 things that you'd recommend, whether it's food, whether it's going for a swim, whether it's something, anything, stupid, small, big, little, I don't care what it is. What are 3 things that you would recommend from your time in Wollongong?
It's a sandwich place called Panino Teca. You gotta go enjoy that. It's really great. They make really good sandwiches. I like a turkey sandwich with lettuce, mayo, a little chipotle mayo on there as well, a little salt and pepper, tomato. It's really good. That place. What else do we have out here? Another place. It's a pizza place called Need and Ruby. Elite food. Elite.
Yeah.
I love it. Elite pizza. Other than that, yeah, you got to come to a Hawks game, man. It gets crazy in there.
100%. I'll be definitely on my way. Maybe I might even try and sneak over for a playoff game. I think it'll be very hard getting tickets in front of a lot of these crazy fans because it's going to be a packed out joint, but I will definitely be trying to come over there as well. Now, last question here, mate. I think this is a big thing, and I think it's a big thing with younger guys as well coming through, like this generation that we're sort of in right now. Pre-game rituals. Have you got any, you've got the crazy ones where it's, none of them are crazy, but, the ones that it's like my left sock, my left shoe, then my right sock, my right shoe. What are some of your pre-game rituals, mate, that you might do every week?
Man, I don't really have none. I really have to pray before every game. I pray for sure. Like, just to, cover myself, cover my team, cover everybody. Thank everybody for coming. But it's another thing I do is like, I pull my socks, both socks all the way up, then I kind of fold them weirdly to like, I don't know. It's like, I just have to fold them. Like I fold my socks and then, I like to take my little pregame naps. And also listen to slow music as well to calm my nerves. Other than that, nice. I don't really have many rituals.
No, definitely. I think it's definitely an interesting one. Now, I've obviously really enjoyed your time, and the boys of the Hawks Hangout. They've been in recent weeks trying to figure out some nicknames for all of you guys, and they've started to get their nicknames. I'll give you a couple of them if you haven't listened to the boys just yet, but they've got Wani Swackala Lockdown, obviously a bit of a COVID reference there, which is a bit of a good one. Now you've got Deadly Love Bite, which is Mr. Hickey, the old neck love bite. Now they've got one for you, and it's they want a bit of help, I guess, is the best way. So Powderfinger's a massive Australian band, and Corey's 47. He's a bit of an old guy, and all he's come up with is These Days, which is the song by Powderfinger, and they've also slowly come up with Days of Thunder as well. What are some of your nicknames?
I like Days of Thunder.
You like Days of Thunder?
A lot of people say "Oh My Days" too. Yeah, I have a lot of nicknames. People give me a lot of nicknames. Oh my goodness. My last name is just like, it's just a great last name. Like, it's just, man, they be having posters and stuff all at the gym and stuff. So, yeah.
No, we'll run with Days of Thunder then going forward, mate. But, mate, I've really appreciated your time. You've been amazing. We only really got in contact last week, and for this to already be happening and it'll be posted very, very shortly. I've really appreciated obviously your time. And have you got anything that you'd like to shout out that you might be working on, or even just your social medias, anything like that? Obviously, where we can find you and obviously follow your journey as well, because your journey is going to really, really far surpass obviously just this season at Illawarra. Hopefully, we'll see you back in the NBL. For future seasons as well, mate. But, obviously everyone's goal is to go back to the NBA at some point and play at the highest level. So, yeah, give a shout out to all your socials as well so we can follow your journey.
You can follow me on Instagram at Darius Days _ DariusDays _ Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my dad. Shout out to my family. Shout out to Raleigh. Shout out to everyone, back at home. Love you guys. And, shout out to the Hawks fans. And, thank you for having me today.
No, definitely, mate. We'll have all that stuff linked in the description below as well. And, yeah, mate, enjoy the rest of your season. I'm super pumped to obviously see what Days of Thunder can finish off and obviously what the Illawarra Hawks can continue to do, mate. So I hope that the rest of the season is a healthy one. I hope it's a successful one. And I'm looking forward to chatting after the season, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.